what we call in UK English a polytunnel. It's for gardening, it's a sort of greenhouse. I want to create a support which fits just inside the outside layer, something like this. And I'm imagining that I want it to be, just a fraction smaller than the size of this cutaway here. I'm thinking that I'm going to be extruding it into an object of its own. So let's have a think about, well, I'll think about that on the fly. And then I need a Boolean cutaway. So I need to come up with the same shape, only slightly smaller, say. I'm exaggerating, it's going to be a lot thinner than that. This is the bit we want to keep, I'm shading in now. So I'm thinking that I'll have a cutaway that's slightly smaller than that, like this. And then do a difference and then delete this part here. Then get rid of this part here. That's my thinking. This is a preview image I took just before completing the construction of the support. It shows you the support in place, it's the brown thing, and then the grey cutter that we use to actually make the shape of the final support. To create the basic shape of the support, I'm going to edit mode. I'm in face select. I'll click on this end face. I'll do a shift D in an X direction, move it out a bit. Right now that is still part of the same object, which is not what I want. I want to separate it out into its own object. So I'll click on in edit mode again. I'll do P and separate by selection, and now it's its own person, so I'll call that support. It has inherited the material from the main tunnel, so I'm going to unlink that, delete. So we're in the support section, this is the material for support, delete that. That now makes that grey, so I'll add in a new material and I'll give it a base colour of something a bit browny. I'm going to say that's good enough. Make this support a bit smaller than the outline, the perimeter of the tunnel itself. I'll go into opposite end, control 3 for facing that end, and we're in object mode, we've got the support, so I'll go back into edit mode. With this selected, I'm going to extrude region, so take it out a little bit. That's good enough, I think. That's enough. Object mode, material preview, that's what I want. Now these dimensions, I'm now going to scale this brown object, and for the Y and the Z axes I'm going to make it 10 centimeters smaller than the current figure. And the X stays, well, let's make it that one. The X stays as it is. So now if I do a control 3, then I'm tucked nicely inside the perimeter of the tunnel itself. I do need to tidy up this scale, rotation and scale, and now all the scale settings are 1. The next thing is to create what I will call the cutter, which is going to cut a suitable shaped hole through this support. So I'm going to do a shift D again in an X direction. This time that's an object in its own right, so here I'll change that, and just to be tidy I'm going to move this under tool, unlink this one, and I'm on cutter, I'm in object mode, so in my material I don't really need to, I just need to get rid of that ghost of the wood there, and actually that colour's perfectly fine, so we'll live with the non-colour. So again I'll face on, and I will be doing the same principle of we've got the cutter highlighted. I'm going to do it in two separate operations this time. The Y and the Z I will shrink, scaling the X and the Y by 10 centimeters. So S, and we're saying shift X for don't touch the X. That should be good enough. And then for the cutter side of things, I need to be that to be quite a bit bigger than it is. Move this around, do numpad del. That brings that over nicely. So tab, and I'm going to extrude on this side, pull it through, and that's enough to be a nice cutter that I can apply my boolean to. I like the thing that I want cutting. Go into object mode, cut that, then go to the modifier tab. So it's the support that we want cutting. I'm going to add a modifier of boolean. By default it's on difference, which is what I want. What is the thing that's going to do the cutting? It's this thing called a cutter. So I've clicked that. I now do an apply, and actually I'm confident that that has now done its job, so I'm going to delete the cutter. Interestingly, I kind of wasn't expecting that. It's got a grey interior. Never thought about that before. And now this can be moved inside the greenhouse, and I'm confident it will fit nicely. I don't need to go any further because that's the principle of the support and how to create that. So I'll probably create an array with one at either end and say 2 or 3 in the middle, and it needs to be transparent so you can actually see it, but that's another day. Bye.